So again, I know we have a lot of Canes fans already in here in the comments, and we'll start with a guy here that is going to be visiting Miami here, Martavius French, linebacker, all-conference guy at UTSA this year. And you see that list of visits there. It's a very interesting list. It's kind of a who's who of social media clicks these days. As you got Colorado, Coach Prime, you got UNC, Bill Belichick, then you have Miami there, and then you have UCF, West Virginia. So it's all over the place here, right? You have, like I said, Colorado, they're looking to reload. They have a bunch of holes that they need to fill defensively. Miami, we know what they need is pretty much at every position. UNC, Bill Belichick wants you. That's always kind of something on the radar because a lot of these guys they've been bringing in have NFL body types and NFL type talent. But this is a guy in Martavius French who was very productive at UTSA this year, signed with Tennessee coming out of high school, was actually suspended earlier this year at UTSA as well. So not a guy who has had the perfect path to where he is now, but extremely talented. And at the end of the day, someone who looks like he's going to get an opportunity to get back once again with a big-time program.
Yeah, so you see UTSA, you think of kind of overachiever. This is a 4-star, highly recruited player that's just sort of gone an alternate route. The JUCO route had a suspension when he signed with Tennessee, and then had a suspension here at the beginning of the season with UTSA, which ended up getting worked out. And I believe he was cleared. Obviously, he played the whole season and had a great year with 80 tackles and 17 tackles for loss, which was the most among inside linebackers. For a guy that's not playing on the edge, 17 tackles for loss is a huge number. He gets in the backfield, great instincts. Really an interesting guy. I watched his game against Texas, which of course is going to be the closest competition to what you see at a UNC, Miami, Colorado. And he looked, first of all, physically like he belonged with Texas, which was one of the most physically impressive teams in the country, just from a body type, kind of talent standpoint. On top of that, you're also looking at a guy with tremendous instincts. I mean, just watching that game, there was a wheel route that was picked. I think that was the design of the play was to go to the wheel route. He picked it up. They ended up going elsewhere. He was all over the field making tackles. He graded out very high in that game. That was a 72.7 grade for that Texas game. One of his best games of the year was against the best competition, and it looked that way. That's from Pro Football Focus, but it looked that way when I watched it. Good tackler, true middle linebacker. Have a scouting report here. I have a source with Hutchinson Community College, which was where he went after Tennessee, and he was very, very good at that JUCO, one of the top JUCOs in the country, produced a ton of pros. And the source says he's awesome, good player, can run sideline to sideline, big energy guy, which I saw on tape as well. Has some pop behind the pads and can cover a running back or tight end. Probably not a good matchup with the slot and man coverage, though. Also good in underneath zone coverage. So, to me with Martavius French, it's all about the suspensions and making sure you're good with the character stuff. Because if you are, just from what I saw in that Texas game alone and just looking at the production, he is more than ACC and Big 12 caliber. And, those are the conferences he's looking at. I think you could put him right in to any of these schools and he will be a starter and a leader on that defense day one with some NFL potential. Again, I was more impressed than I expected to be watching film of this player. Not knowing that he was a 4-star made sense after I kind of did some due diligence on him watching that game. But, if 6'2", 220, if there's a weakness, he is a little bit upright in his movements, but he's definitely not unathletic. He is pretty athletic, and he was always around the ball. A true sideline to sideline middle linebacker, tackling machine, who I think could be a really, really good player at any of those schools. And certainly all of those schools need help on defense. I know Miami has a major need at linebacker to get to the level they want to play at. I think he would probably be one of their top linebackers day one. Colorado's always on the hunt for front seven players. And Bill Belichick, he's defense first. So when you get the Bill Belichick seal of approval, that's meaningful. And certainly you have that here with Martavius French.
And you'd have to think that when he's going on these visits is as much of an interview from the coach's perspective as it is him getting recruited to these schools, right?
100%. That's the part that people don't talk about visits enough is it's a two-way street. And this goes for high school recruiting and portal, but probably even more so for portal because you have less of a knowledge of the player, right? You're kind of speed dating. So you're sizing up, first of all, the body type because a lot of guys look a certain way on film. And I've talked to coaches about this. After some guy comes on a visit, they either say, wow, we better get this guy, or, this guy, I don't know if he's what we thought he was. So the body typing in person is huge on these visits. And then, of course, with guys that have multiple suspensions, that's part of the deal as well, trying to understand the character, understand the kid, understand exactly what happened, and just kind of get a feel for how this player would fit in your locker room. A lot of different coaches, right? Big personalities on his list. One of the most, like you said, the list of schools is probably almost as interesting as the player. But I think this is a player who can be an all-conference type middle linebacker based on what I saw in that Texas game, and his ability to look very much like he belonged on the field with one of the best teams in the country.
So he's going to be visiting Miami here at the end of the week, has that UNC visit for the 6th and the 7th. So you'd expect his recruitment to draw into the early part of the year here, and then enroll there pretty shortly thereafter, in the 2nd or 3rd week of January. So that one we'll keep you guys updated here on Group Chat Football Live, without a doubt. And it's tough to find highly productive linebackers with athletic ability like he has. You can find guys who racked up a bunch of tackles, but to say he also kind of fits what you're looking for in today's game at the position is why I think he's such an interesting guy on the market right now.